Hi everyone, it's Melissa from the Hookstrap. I'm here today to teach you a fingerstyle version of If We Were Vampires by Jason Isbell on the 400 unit. This is my interpretation of the song. When he plays it on the guitar, he's actually down tuning by a whole step, and of course he has 6 strings as opposed to the ukulele's 4. So it was a little tricky to try and come up with an exact replica of what he's doing because it's hard to kind of completely follow that fingerpicking pattern when you only got 4 strings. So instead I made what I call an interpretation of it to kind of replicate the feeling of it without it being an exact copy. So that's what I'm going to teach you today. You can, before we get started, you can go to the description link where you will find, our description box where you'll find a free downloadable PDF tab so you can follow along with me. There's also a second downloadable PDF tab that just has the chords and the lyrics. So if you want to play both, you can have them, but we're just going over the fingerstyle tutorial. I will also make sure to put a link so that you can follow along with the chords and the lyrics if you want to do that video instead, because I have 2 of them. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to actually get a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing, because I think that will be most beneficial. So you start off with the intro, which is a D minor chord. So you're going to place your index finger on the E string, 1st fret, your middle finger on the G string, 2nd fret, and your ring finger on the C string, 2nd fret. All right, so that's the D. So what you're going to do is pluck all 4 strings, right? So I'm taking my thumb to the top of that G string. My middle finger is going on the C string. My index finger is going on the C string, my middle finger is going on the E string, and my ring finger is going on the A string. So I'm going to be plucking upwards with those fingers while I'm plucking downwards with my thumb. So I'm doing that all simultaneously to do the very first part, which is okay, and then you're going to take your pinky and place it down on the 3rd fret of the E string, so it'll be so you're plucking all of the strings, right? Placing it down once, pluck that one, lift up, and then pluck that same string, or hitting that E string to get that sound. So it's going to sound like this again, one more time. So D minor, all 4 strings, right? So 3, 1, okay, on that E string. Then you're going to move to an A minor. So I'm just going to lift up the other fingers. I'm going to leave my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. All right, and I'm going to pluck all 4 strings again. And then I'm just going to take my middle finger to the E string, which is open. Then I'm going to go down to the next string, the C string, which is also open. All right, so that again is the A minor part. So let's do that one more time. It's all 4. So open, E, A string, or E, C strings, okay? Open, E, C strings, okay? So if you want to do both parts together, it sounds like this. Alright, and then you're going to make a B flat. Alright, so that's done by taking your E and A strings at the 1st fret with your index finger. Your middle finger comes onto the C string, 2nd fret, and your ring finger comes onto the G string, 3rd fret. Okay, that's your B flat. You're going to pluck all 4 strings there too. And then you're going to take, again, middle finger to that E string, index finger to the C string, come back to the middle string, pluck that one. Then you're going to go ring finger to the A string, then come back to the E string. All right, so all together that B flat sounds like this. So again. Alright, so each one of those things I just went over, the D minor, the A minor, and the B flat, you would play each of those progressions in succession once by yourself. So it would sound in a row, just like this. Then you would repeat it. Okay, then you go to the next part, which is the D minor again. Same thing that you just, or actually, no, I'm sorry, I take it back. It's not the exact same thing. You're gonna pluck all 4 strings, all right? Then you're gonna go middle finger to the E string, C string, middle to the E string again, ring to the A string, middle back to that E string. So D minor goes pluck all 4. All right, one more time. Pluck all 4. E string, C string, E string, A string, E string. All right, and you didn't move any of those fingers, okay? And then you go to the F, which is your index finger on the E string, 1st fret, middle finger on the G string, 2nd fret. Pluck all 4 strings, and then again, start with that E string. So you'll notice there's a theme here. I'm starting with the E string, going to the C string, going back to the E string, going to the A string, and coming back to the E string. So I do that a lot throughout this whole thing, so you'll notice that there's a pattern. Then I go back to the D minor, do the same thing we did before. Back to the F. Now I'm only going to do part of that pattern, so I pluck all 4 strings, E string, C string, but then I'm going to switch chords to the C, so your ring finger's on the 3rd fret of the A string, pluck all 4, then E string, C string. Okay, so that again is F. Alright, so that line, if we just repeat that part, that new part, goes like this. Alright, so that's the intro, okay? Now the verse is the same as the intro. So if you've already learned the intro, then you already know the verse, and it's exactly the same. And then you just, like that whole thing that we just did once for the intro, you would actually repeat twice for the entire verse. So I'm just going to play that again so you can play with me and practice the verse, but I won't slow it down so that you, since we've already done that part, but we'll play it as if we were playing the verse. So we go like this. Oh shoot, I messed up. Now you repeat it again. Alright, now we get to the chorus, okay? So your chorus, you're going to go for your B flat. Just noticing I can push this up just a teeny tiny bit. Okay. Your B flat, you're going to pluck all 4 strings. Then you're going to do, again, E string, C string. Alright, so it's middle, index, E and C strings. Alright, so pluck, so that same pattern, pluck all E string, C string, E string, A string, E string. Alright, then go to your F, pluck all 4, E string, C string, E string, A string, E string. Alright, back to that B flat, same thing, pluck all 4, E string, C string, E string, A string, E string, then F, pluck all 4, E string, C string, and then we're going to go back to that C. And actually for this one, I'm not going to pluck the G string, I'm just going to do the 4, or the bottom 3 strings, so that'll be C, E, and A, and then E string, C string, okay? And then B flat, pluck all 4, E string, C string, E string, A string, E string, alright? So let's just go over that line one more time in case you missed it the first time around, and then I'll teach you the second part of the line. So it's ba-na-na-na. So I'm actually going to do it in time. Last time, so now you go back to that F. Alright, so pluck all 4 strings, E string, C string, then A minor, all 4 strings, E string, C string, then B flat, all 4 strings, E string, C string, E string, A string, E string, B minor, all 4, E string, C string, then go back to your C, all 4, and then E string, C string, alright? And that's the chorus. So let's play that again from the top. Alright, and now to finish the song, you just repeat that verse, and then you repeat the chorus 2 more times, and that's the entire song. Like I said, this is an interpretation. It's not an exact replica of what he was doing because that was a little bit too tricky for me to figure out. with the whole down tuning and all that stuff. But anyway, if you have any questions or comments, or I've made a mistake somewhere that you've noticed and you want to let me know, please let me know in the comments below. Also, please like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help me out, puts a smile on my face, and it lets me know that you're watching and that you like the content that you're getting. Also, if there is a song that you're dying to learn, please put it in the comment box below. I won't always cover it, especially if it's something that I feel like people have done to death, or if I feel like there's already a really good version out there on the ukulele. But if there's something that you can't find on the ukulele, that's what I'm trying to make songs, tutorials for. Because when I first started out, I found that there was a lot of music that I wasn't interested in learning, and then there was plenty of music that I was interested in learning, and I couldn't find tabs for them, so I had to, work from guitar tabs and try and figure it out from there. And if you're really a beginner, that's a little intimidating to do. Luckily, I already had guitar and piano experience, so it wasn't too bad for me. But for those of you out there just starting out and playing, I want to help you guys out. So anyway, thank you. See you next time. Bye.